Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Indirect Knowledge. Today we have another tarot reading, and this reading is for Jennifer, and it's concerning her husband and his relationship um, with another woman. And the relationship has been going on for about 2 years or so. And Jennifer just wants to know when that relationship's going to come to an end, when she's going to get some closure on it, if that's even going to happen. And pretty understandable. In relationships, we tend to want our partner for ourselves. After all, they are our partner, the person that we share our life with and our day-to-day lives. So, yeah, even though we have life and we have relationships outside of work, such as work relationships and friendships, that kind of thing, at the end of the day, there's certain types of relationships that have more meaning in terms of communication than other relationships, and they're just more meaningful relationships. So, like in this particular instance, like if you're married, and you probably know this, or if you've been in a long-term committed relationship for a long period of time, then you probably have this understanding that this other person that's in my life, someone that I've chosen to be with, someone who's chosen to be with me, that um, that they've made a vow basically to honor me, and vice versa. I honor them. This isn't always the case. Some relationships function differently. Everybody has a different way of living their life. They have different beliefs, different understandings, different ways of working through things. So there's never any judgment or anything on that. Many people choose to live, without having anyone in their life. And this is really the nature of relationships, is that they have a dynamism, like they can be very um, fluid. They can change over time. They can morph into something deeper. They can morph into something, or they can even fizzle out. Um, it's just the nature of material life, right? Attraction can leave. Um, there's just a whole host of different things that can happen. They say that love is forever. That's probably true, but it doesn't mean that relationships are forever, or that the way that we carry on our relationships is going to last forever, or any of that kind of understanding of things. But love itself, in the purest sense, in terms of just devotional service, devoting yourself to the other person, that person devoting themselves to you, that's a lot of times the glue that really does hold a relationship together to keep it pretty solid. Um, let's do the reading. So today we're going to do this reading and for Jennifer, and this reading is going to be a 7-card reading. It's we're going to look at the past, present, and future, get a little insight into all three of those. We're going to really find out what the answer is for her as far as handling the situation. We're going to look at the energy surrounding the current situation, like the present moment now, so we can kind of draw some intuition and see what I can pick up. And then we are also going to look at really kind of where Jennifer is at right now, and kind of just see kind of like what the situation is as far as like what she would like to see happen, her outcome, and then we'll look at the final outcome. And this is really the final outcome is going to be the time that is really the focus is going to be on him and this other woman, and of course Jennifer is part of that equation as well. But it's really going to pinpoint what the outcome is going to be for Jennifer as far as this resolve, whether it's going to resolve itself, if so when, and all that kind of thing. So first card is going to be the past. We'll look at the past. go ahead and cut these cards. I've been shuffling for a long time now. Gonna shuffle the spots off of these cards. All right. Just a moment. All right. So the first card is the past card. Let's see what that is. Oh, we have the Queen of Wands. Huh. Queens are all about influence. Wands represent fire. They're real fiery. And with fire, you have something that blazes quickly. So it's fast. In this particular thing, this is about wands are also about action and initiative and creativity, things along that nature as well, along that line. So queens wield influence. Okay, so in the past, you've wielded some influence. It's about how you interact with yourself, how you interact with other people, and really the Queen of Wands is about influence, that influencing with charm and with passion, and it's about creative influencing, and like I said, just charm and passion. It's about up and about all the time. So like with this reading, in the past, it looks like Jennifer's wielded a lot of influence. She's been able to interact well with others. She's been able to use herself. She's kind of influential in her social circles, in her relationships with other people, in the way that she communicates, in the way that she presents herself. And this Queen of Wands is about creative influence. So you've been creative, you've been exciting, you've been interesting, these kind of things. So try to wrap your mind around this aspect of what the past has looked like, and as far as this relationship goes, you and your husband. And this is also about, this is also about the other woman too, but I think this mainly represents Jennifer. So in the current situation that we have with this circumstances, with the husband and all, and this other woman and you, we have this two. The two is about relationships, but this is a Two of Wands. So we have these wands coming up. This is really interesting. Excuse me, guys, I got allergies. I apologize. But these wands keep coming up. So we had the Queen of Wands, which is wielding influence as far as the past and things go. But now, in the current moment, in this particular phase, this is really about deciding how you want to approach this situation. That's what this two is really all about. And do you want to take more of a traditional approach? Maybe do something from the past, or do you want to take maybe a newer approach, and approach the situation in somewhat of a different way? But it's kind of time right now. It's about planning things out, maybe putting together a plan of action, coming up with something creative. Like you've wielded in the past as creative influence. Maybe it's time to reenact some of that and put that back into play. But coming up with looking at your options, looking at some different things that maybe you're wanting in that. And that's really what this Two of Wands is really all about. So let's look at the future. Now, before we get into this future card, I just want to say that I'm normally calibrated to about 3 months out. So depending on the card itself and what I really start to pick up when this card gets drawn, I can give you some more insight or perspective on the kind of the timeline. It doesn't necessarily mean 3 months. Sometimes, depending on the heaviness of the energy, it could be longer than 3 months, or it could be a shorter time span than 3 months. It really is about the near future, though, and this is really sort of like that next chapter, that next step. So let's look and see what we got. Oh, wow. So we have another two. This time we have the Two of Pentacles. So this is sort of like a conflict of balance. Here is really what this card is indicating, this two. You notice there's an infinity in there. that keeps looping itself around the coins. Coins are about money. Um, when you have pinnacles, it's usually about money, or it's about, it represents Capricorn. If you're familiar with like the zodiac, it's sort of this earthly sign. It's about getting your resources in check. It's about making those lists. It's about organizing and structure. These type of people are usually pretty good in business, or they're really good at managing finances, or they're pretty solid when it comes to, you know, taking care of themselves and probably taking care of other people as well. That's sort of the energy that we're looking at with this particular card. But it also indicates really the necessity for balance between opposing desires and interests. So it's about balancing out what you have with, what you're really desiring in that, and trying to strike a good balance. So in the future, with regard to this relationship with this other girl, it looks like he's, in his mind, he's trying to strike a better balance, you know. Um, but there's a sort of a mental conflict there a little bit. It's sort of like he's trying to decide, okay, how do I manage both? How do I have my cake? How do I eat it too? Or have my cake and have my pie? And that's what's going on. This is pretty in the near future, I'm picking up, maybe within the next month and a half. Yeah, that makes sense too, because it's sort of like you're in this phase of like planning, like, you know, um, you know, how do I get my husband back? Like 100% back to me. And in his mind, so as that planning phase goes, it'll probably take a month and a half to really nail it down and get it going. And then within about a month and a half, he's going to be really trying to figure this whole thing out of like, well, how do I have my cake? How do I eat it too? How do I balance this other relationship with my relationship with my wife? That kind of thing. So let's look at really the answer to this spread. Okay, so we have the Eight of Swords. So just take a moment to look at this card for just a second. Now you see this young woman, she's blindfolded, she's bound, and she's got these swords all around her. And then there's a kingdom in the background, and she's basically outside, and she's away from the kingdom. So she's not in any prison, even though she might think she's in a prison, but she's really not. She can escape anytime. If she just backs up just maybe a foot or so, she could easily cut herself loose. And if she cut herself loose, she could pretty much take that blindfold off and pretty much do whatever she wanted at that point and have total freedom. So that's kind of what we're looking at here. It's about being blinded. Now, eight usually has a financial component to it or something as well, or it's normally about, you might have some good financial luck or something as well. But really, this card is about really just feeling trapped, feeling blinded to different solutions. And really the key for this card is it's teaching us that we need to negate our negativity, cool our critical thinking, stop overthinking, lose our doubt, our disbelief, things of that nature. Just basically cool our unconquered mind. Start conquering that mind a little bit, making it our friend. We'll talk more about this here answer card in a moment when we discuss the outcome here shortly. And then we'll come back to it to see how the answer and the outcome can help each other out, what that relationship looks like. But give me just a moment on that. And for the time being, what I really want to zero in on at this point is I want to zero in on this Two of Wands. This is where we're looking out into the future. We're trying to make some plans. We're trying to figure out how we're going to balance everything out in our life. And it's about just kind of putting that plan out there and taking some time to do what we need to do to figure this thing out. And that's essentially representing you right now, Jennifer. And so let's just kind of see where the energy is as far as that goes. So we have the King of Cups. This is our energy card right here. And the King of Cups is, anytime you have kings, you have authority. It's the person with the upper hand. The king makes the decisions. If the king wants something, the king gets it. People always bow to the king. This authority is about creating foundations, though. And because it's a cup, we're really talking about emotions. We're talking about intuition, influence, things like that. But it's about, so this king here is about really emotional authority, having emotional authority, emotional maturity. But this king is also very compassionate about other people's emotions, knows how to deal with the individual on an emotional level. So right now it says that, you know, you're kind of in this place of influence, and really that's what I'm seeing here. You had the Queen of Wands in the past, and that's where you were able to subtly have this influence. Then in the current moment and stuff like that is sort of, like I said, this sort of this planning phase where we're trying to figure this whole thing out, put things together and do it quickly and get to the creative side of things. That's that Two of Wands. And the energy around this Two of Wands is really just, you know, stepping up to the plate, you know, making ourselves the authority person, putting that foundation in place, but also being able to handle people emotionally and do it in a very well-rounded way. So that's really the energy. Let's look at where you're at, what your hope, your desire, that kind of thing is. Oh, wonderful card. This is the Four of Wands. This is sort of like what your hope is, kind of your hope for the situation. This is kind of like where you're at, Jennifer. This is really what you would like as far as the outcome goes. Four of Wands is really about stability. You know, there's four wands or four legs. So you think of a table having four legs, right? If you get rid of one of those, you have a wobbly table or a table that can't hold up. But with four, you want something solid. It's saying that, hey, you know, you want some order and some structure. And this is also really about just getting that first taste of success, like moving things in the direction that you want them to be moved into, so that, you know, essentially, you know, the other girl disappears, or, you know, she gets out of his life, and he pretty much puts that focus right back on you again. But it's also just about, you know, it's sort of a time of celebration too. This is really the celebration card. It's when just things have sort of resolved themselves, and that's really what you're wanting. Let's look at what the outcome to this whole situation is. Now, I know this is sort of the moment that you've been waiting for, and I don't mean to keep you waiting in suspense or anything, but this really does, like when we take holistically this whole entire tarot reading and put it in together, this final outcome card will make a whole lot more sense, and all the cards that have come up to this point will give us some perspective and some answers so that we can really look at this outcome and make sense of it to give you the best advice possible. So let's continue. You have an amazing card. So your outcome is the Star. I remember when I was a kid, outside, we would sing this song. It's Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star, how I wonder what you are, up above the world so bright, like a diamond in the sky. Twinkle, twinkle, little star. And I wish upon a star, and something along those lines. Anyways, forgive me. It's very early in the morning here. The star, it's a good omen. It's guiding you to the truth. This is going to be a better path for you, a happier path. It's going to be a path of love and a path of spirituality where your wishes are fulfilled. The hidden will become revealed, and in doing so, peace will prevail. So the Star card is about, you know, wishes being fulfilled. Now, this isn't the actual wish card that's in the tarot deck, but I want you to think of the star as sort of like, if you've ever, if you're familiar at all with like any kind of like, for example, the Star of David, you know, where the three wise men had looked up in the heavens and seen the Star of David, and then they followed that star, the wise men, and that kind of thing. It's about really getting that. It's about the omen. It was a good omen for them. And then, you know, in the biblical sense, Jesus came about and everything else. But here's the thing. It's about, this is a good omen for you. Okay, this is a very spiritual card, the Star. But it's really about a better path being laid out before you. So something good to come. The way I want you to think of it is sort of like this. If you look at a story, okay, you look at a narrative. And let's just for just arguments, and let's just for the sake, and I'm not trying to get all spiritual or religious on anyone here, but I want to do this as sort of as an objective exercise, an objective illustration to kind of illustrate this point that I'm trying to bring home as far as your tarot spread is concerned. If you look at things from like, okay, so everything's been going along for the last 2 years, just kind of like this, right? It's like in the past, you had this influence, things were good. Then it's now you've got this here situation, this other woman, your husband. It's been there for a couple of years now. It's been taking its toll, but it's time to start planning things out. So that's what you're essentially doing. You're getting a tarot reading, for example. You're getting this advice. You're looking at your options. And that's what this current situation is all about. And we keep going along a little bit further. Then we have this here. It was the Two of Pentacles. The Two of Pentacles is about pending decisions which have to be made. It's about, we're analyzing our options now so that we can make decisions in the near future, probably about a month and a half out. And same thing for him. It's the necessity for balance between opposing desires and interests. So what's in your best interest and what is your desired outcome? That's sort of what this futuristic look is going to look like about a month and a half out from now. Then we keep going a little bit, and it's just like, emotionally, we have the King of Cups. It's about emotional maturity, and that's where you're at right now. Very emotionally mature, and you know how to deal with other people. You know how to deal with their emotions. You're very good like that, and then. But what you want is really stability in your life. You want to be able to rejoice and have celebration. You want things the way that you want them. And you want to have success over this whole situation. You want things in a nice way back for yourself, the way that you want them. It's about joy. It's about celebration. This is your heart's desire. It's to get back and to have this here jubilation. You see two people there with, bouquets holding up. See the kingdom in the background. That's a good sign. You see some new growth. You see these 4 wands. It's about stability. That's really what you're wanting. And then all of a sudden you have this good omen happen. This good omen hits you. You have this tarot reading, and then you get this great omen, which guides you to a path of truth, a better path, a happier path. And everything is really good. What is really the answer to having the good omen come about in order to get your wishes fulfilled and everything? What's the answer to that? Well, we had the answer card right here. This is really interesting, because I don't often see the answer card in this light, okay? For a lot of people's situations, it doesn't really happen like this. The advice I'm going to give you is definitely not the advice that I would give a lot of people. But it's not my job to judge. It's not my job to read into things too much. It's my job just to give you exactly what comes to me. But this Eight of Swords is about this feeling of being trapped. It's about being blind to solutions. It's about negating your negativity, your critical thinking, your doubt, any disbelief that you have. It's about conquering your mind, essentially, and realizing that you're able to free yourself anytime and be right back in control of this situation. And that's what your answer is knowing that you're free at any time to be back in control. In the day and hour, the moment that you really realize that, and you have this here mind that's conquered, realize that you're the person of influence. You're the one that wields all the power. And you have the King of Cups. You know how to emotionally control the situation. You know how to have emotional authority, emotional maturity, and that's who you are. And that's where your strength and power lies. And so what this card is telling you is that, you just need to negate your negativity. Whatever negative feelings you're having or harboring right now, just let them go. Don't stress over them too much. You don't really have to take a whole lot of action here. But you're able to take action anytime you can. And as long as you know that, as long as you keep it up here, you're going to be fine. And everything is going to work itself out. And it's going to work itself out here in a relatively short period of time. I'm saying really about 4 months out for you. Like you give it about 2 months and all, and then it's this hope. He's going to be trying to figure out he and you, actually both, I mean, on both ends of the spectrum, are going to be trying to figure out, you know, it's really about this necessity for balance, you know, between these opposing desires and interests, you know. About a month and a half, he's going to be trying to figure things out. But the ultimate outcome is in your favor, not the other woman. It's in your favor. There's a good omen ahead. Everything is going to work out really, really spectacularly for you. Yeah, I mean, it's not very often that I can, you know, see the star as someone's outcome, but it's pretty amazing when it shows up in a reading. And so I'm a little, I don't want to say baffled, but I'm just, you know, it really does give me a lot of insight into you as well. Like, just, you really have like all of this control and all of this, you know, all of these capabilities. You know, you're super well rounded. You have the Queen of Influence who can do influence in subtle ways. You also have the King of Influence who can really, you know, uh, the King of Cups, which is all about emotional maturity. You're able to use that to your advantage. But right now it's saying, you know, kind of pause on things, you know, even though you may be blinded to the situation, or you're in this situation and you may be thinking something here or something there. It can be some negative thoughts or some negative ideas. The card's saying, don't worry about it. You know, it's basically just a message to say, hey, look, the answer right now is just to put a pause on things. Know that, you know, you're not really being blindsided by anything, that you have all the power, that you have all the control, that everything is there for you. And it's not about the other woman doesn't really have any of that. So whoever this person is, whatever the relationship is, whether it's just a platonic relationship or a friendship, or if it's something more than that, but I'm not really picking a whole lot of that up. I'm just seeing more kind of this, you know, it may just be someone that, you know, he talks to get a different perspective or something along those lines. And that's probably like in the next month and a half where this card here comes into play at. It's really about, at that point, he's trying to, you know, figure out his pending decisions and, you know, try to, you know, suppress whatever conflict and things have been there between you guys, and really just try to like get a handle of things. But this card here, the answer card for you, is really just saying, you know, just keep yourself in the blind for now, you know, but know in the back of your mind that you have all the power, that that you don't have to worry about anything, is basically what it's saying. Whatever doubts you're having with him concerning this other woman, let it go. You know, don't dwell on it too much. You know, it's basically a message of conquering your mind. I always tell people, and I've said this in other readings too, and I say it quite frequently, in fact, my favorite quote is, for one who has conquered the mind is the best of friends. For one who has failed to do so, the mind is the greatest enemy. And so the mind can really be that catalyst for a lot of our defeats in life. You know, we let our mind get the better of us. We read too much into things. We worry too much about things. We have too much doubt, too much disbelief. We don't keep ourselves naive enough. And this card is not saying that you have to be naive necessarily. It's just saying that, you know, you don't have to project. You don't have to put it out there. You don't have to say necessarily what you're thinking. But whatever you're thinking, if it's negative, let it go, because probably there's not a lot of basis for it. That's really what I'm picking up on this. But the star is a really good omen for you. If you can just kind of set aside your doubt, your disbelief, and negate your negativity, those negative thoughts that are getting you, the mental stuff, get rid of the mental is what it's saying. You know, whatever mental thoughts are happening that are plaguing you, that are causing you grief, try to get a handle of that. And that's really where this balance in the next month and a half is going to come into play at. This is probably like sort of your training wheels for getting what you want. It's about this, it's this conflict of opposites that's going on. It's like, okay, I don't want him talking to this other woman. I want her out of the picture. I want him 100% back on me. But should I say something? Should I not? And it's just this here back and forth, this mental stuff that's going on. The answer for you is just, you know, take a deep breath, you know, let it out slow. You don't have a lot to worry about. You don't have anything really to worry about. Just try to get a grasp of your mind. A little meditation would do you good. Just, get yourself to that happy place. But yeah, you're going to have a really wonderful, spectacular future here soon. It's going to be much happier than where you've been probably over the last 2 years, and probably even in the more recent past. And this path, this omen, is all about love and spirituality. So it's a combination of the two. And spirituality doesn't have to be in the religious sense per se. It could just be in the way that our day-to-day life is lived. It could be just having a regulated lifestyle, something that's very meaningful in that sense. So regardless of your beliefs or your spirituality, that kind of thing, I like to put that out there for people when this card comes up, just to let you know that the universe is conspiring to work everything in your favor. Only thing you have to do is just kind of let go and let it happen naturally, and things are going to work out 100% for you. So guys, that's really the reading. And Jennifer, I really, I don't see anything really bad in this reading for you at all. I mean, everything is pretty much in your favor. For him, he's going to have some mental conflicts and things that he's going to have to deal with and work through and stuff. Give him about a month and a half. In 4 months, whatever the situation is now, it's going to be vastly different. You're going to be in a much better place, mentally, emotionally, overall happy, more happy, spiritually in a better place. Just life in general is going to be good for you. So about 4 months from now, let's see, it's May the 11th right now. May, June, July, August, September. So around September, middle of September, somewhere around that ballpark is where we're looking at for this and all. It's just going to be a really good time for you. Things are going to work out really good. If you have any questions or anything, any concerns, anything come up along the way, please reach out to me. I'm here for you. As your tarot coach, I'm always here for you. And that goes for all of you guys out there that I read for. And for all of you watching this channel today, if you would, please go ahead and give that old thumbs up. It always really helps with the rankings of these videos so that other people can take advantage, see the videos. And then, of course, go ahead and subscribe to the channel and hit that bell icon below, because if you hit the bell icon, you'll get notifications on your smartphone every time we do these readings. And that way you can learn more about tarot. You can see other people and, just kind of get an idea of like what the cards mean and how tarot can influence and help people in so many great ways. And we just love to have you around. So thanks so much for tuning in live here. If you have any questions or anything, please leave them in the comment section below. Also, if you guys that are into divination have any advice or anything for Jennifer, please leave it in the comments below for her as well. We always try to keep things positive here, so please try to do that. And we will see you on the next episode of Indirect Knowledge. Yeah. Have a wonderful day.